Hi, I'm Maria Bobak with
Tara Donovan,
and this is Summer in the Mood. Stay with us for 15 minutes of muck, magic, music,
murder.
You'll see in a bit. That doesn't sound good. Anyway, here's muck and magic from Ballymun's Community Garden.
Ballymun has passed through many phases. Once this entire area formed the grounds for the Albert Agricultural College. In recent times, Ballymun has been known as a concrete jungle, but a different type of greenery has started to take over here at the Muck and Magic Community Garden. Hi Moira, nice to meet you. Can you tell us a bit about the gardens here?
Sure. The Muck and Magic Community Garden was started about 15 months ago. The idea came up at the first Ballymun Garden Club meeting. A couple of the members identified this site, and the first week of March we entered the site and literally broke ground. So we cleared this area behind us, built some raised beds. We have a series of about 8 raised beds, got a donation of some compost from Dublin Zoo and got started from there. So we started gradually. We put in potatoes, cabbage, lettuce, beetroot, a whole selection of vegetables.
What kind of funding or support would you get from Dublin City Council?
Dublin City Council have been hugely supportive. Have Ballymun Regeneration Limited. They're very supportive of the whole notion of community gardens, I think right across the city, particularly DCC right across the community. Yeah. We don't really need a huge amount of funding because we recycle a huge amount. Our garden shed is made from recycled pallets. The beds behind you here are all trimmed with all recycled wood. Yeah. But obviously plant material, seeds, bamboo, little things that it is important to have an ongoing, I suppose, funding source.
Yeah. It's great to hear. Could you show us around?
Sure, be delighted to.
Okay. Is this rhubarb behind us? It
is. It's part of our soft fruit area, so it's coming on beautifully. And the rest of the bed then is all soft fruit, like gooseberries, black currants, white currants, red currants. Again, this is just literally the first. We put them in at the beginning of the year, so it'll take a bit of time to establish. We'll certainly get a good crop of rhubarb for rhubarb crumble or rhubarb pie
lovely.
Or whatever.
You're making me hungry now. You have chickens here?
Yes, we have 5 or 6 laying hens with 2 cocks, so we get 6 eggs a week, 6 eggs a day. They're a huge addition to the garden because not alone do they produce eggs, but they are educationally fascinating for children and adults alike. They're fantastic from the point of view of we can feed them all of our leftover scraps and vegetables, and they will take some household waste. So that's again great from the point of view of reducing waste, and they've integrated really well into the community. We haven't had too many complaints by the cock crowing really early.
It's a nice way to wake up in the morning.
Absolutely, country feel to it. These are our potatoes, and we are involved in a potato trial of trying to grow disease-resistant potatoes. We've got 3 different varieties, and the whole idea is that we will not spray them with anything and we'll see how we get along. But it's trying to get away from the whole notion of going down the genetically modified route, because variety is the spice of life. The more variety of potatoes and plants you have, the better for any garden. I think the strength of the garden is very much the social element. Yeah. People come to the garden, it's very informal, casual. People often come and have a look and tentatively sort of say, oh, maybe this will suit me. And then a huge sense of companionship and camaraderie, and I think the produce of the garden is probably just a byproduct.
Yeah, because you were saying that an increasing amount of people are coming here.
Oh, absolutely.
So it must be a very kind of social hub then for them.
Very much so, very much so. A huge number of, I suppose, the age profile, kids will come along during summer holidays with parents, and we would strongly encourage that because I think it's important to get kids involved in growing and seeing where their food is coming from. We would have quite a number of unemployed people, middle-aged, the older generation. So yeah, it is very much a social hub. Yeah.
I'm very privileged to be joined on the couch by local musician and composer Megillah Rua. Sorry, Niall.
Well done.
You're very welcome. Summer in me with names, I'm telling you. So can you tell us about some of the projects you've been involved in musically?
Yeah. Well, last year I did the music for a documentary done by a local woman here, Deirdre Brannock, and that was I think Scale in the Lake. It was the story of the how Skull and Chocolate Lake opened up, and yeah, and then I'm working on music for a short film at the moment, and then I've also been involved with choirs. I was a director of an all-Irish speaking choir called Chord of Linna for maybe about 6 years, I think. And then I ran a gospel choir as well, and all kind of other bits and bobs, yeah.
Yeah.
Mostly bobs.
So do you do a lot of Irish music, so?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, even in your name.
Yeah, yeah.
And you have deep roots here in Ballymun.
I do,
Does this influence your music?
It has, yeah. Well, a lot of, like, I suppose I had like a diverse, like, listening to music growing up, you know, like there was all kinds of like music around me, from classical music that I heard in my house then to like all the pop music and reggae and jazz and everything all around me. But then like a more direct route was from the connections I had from Skull and Chocolate Lake. I was like friends with lots of trad players, and I was kind of learning piano by myself, and that's a real kind of solo, non-sessiony musical instrument, you know.
Yeah.
But meeting trad players who played together all the time, like I learned tunes off them, and that really influenced because there's this kind of specific sound to some of the trad tunes, you know.
Yeah.
And I was just really interested in kind of seeing how is that captured, you know. So that's been sort of a mission of mine in my compositions, and bringing that into more full-scale music, you know.
And how old were you when you started?
I started as a teenager, and at first it just kind of took over me and kind of like literally kept me off the streets, you know, because I just got so into it that I didn't want to do anything else, you know.
Yeah.
And then, so maybe around 13 or 14 years old, but I caught up, like, you know, kids often start when they're really young, but I kind of caught up quickly and did the whole college thing and all that, you know.
Yeah, because you're very committed to it,
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
And like music these days seems to be kind of a real social affair.
Mm.
Do you find composing more kind of lonely? Do you prefer working on your own?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, like I'm not a good, you know, like on interview applications, are you a good team player? No, I'm just not really, you know. And I suppose I get so into the music I'm writing that I want to have control over it. And yeah. But having said that, like I love for like that's the composition side, but then for playing, I love just sing songs and the social element of it and how music connects people, you know. So there's different sides to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as you said, like you've done music for TV and films.
Yeah.
Do you find it kind of a big responsibility working with someone else's creative vision?
I do, yeah. And like the important thing for me as a composer is to respect, like a balance between respecting my creative flow and the vision of a director.
Yeah.
Because if I'm kind of too obsessed with what the director is thinking, like I won't get any flow going. And if I'm too like totally irresponsible to the director, then I won't be able to make something that matches. Do you know what I mean? So it's a balance, really. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if someday like they done a movie about you, what music would you like on the soundtrack?
Maybe I don't know. I need the theme music from SpongeBob SquarePants or something.
Yeah, something a bit bizarre, would you? Yeah. And sorry, that's funny. And laughter, sorry. So, do you think like today with education and everything, they involve music enough?
I think it's a really hard question to get right for, like, because music is like there's lots of, if you ask 10 different people what music is and they give you 10 different answers. So like correspondingly there's like 10 different sorts of teachers who are teaching music to kids, and they're all teaching different things. Myself, like I worked on the Ballymun Wind and Brass Band project with Ron Cooney here and bringing musical instruments to children. And that's brilliant, you know, but it kind of addresses one side of music, the discipline of playing, you know, and it does it really well. But there's a whole other side that I'm really interested in now, and myself and Sharon, who's here with me, are involved in this educational program that's all about just the pure creativity in music. and it's about, like, we focus at first on the singing voice and about like learning how to sing in a way that just lets notes come out without any comparison to anybody or to anything you've heard, or without thinking, is this good enough for somebody's approval? And like in this day and age, we're all watching, you know, reality shows where Simon Cowell is judging everybody.
Yeah.
So we call this like non-judgmental singing, you know.
I like that.
Yeah.
Kind of express yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
And like you're so involved in music. Like if you didn't have this, what would you do?
I really don't know. Like, I think just music kind of captured me at like an age where I needed it, you know, when I was a young teenager, you know, and kind of confused about everything. But at that age, like, I was interested in loads of other things as well. I also, in our house, we were one of the first people around amongst all the people I knew to have a computer back then. It was kind of predecessor to all the like the home computers now, but I got really into programming for a while, so it could have been anything, you know.
Yeah.
Then I was into art, but just you kind of have to just pick one thing, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Yeah.
Thanks, it's been fantastic.
Yeah.
Thanks for talking to us.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, over the past few years, many Polish people, like me, came to the city.
An interest of cross-cultural understanding, here's a few phrases we put together to help you new Ballymunners.
First of all, a popular greeting.
Storyboard.
Storyboard. Literally, historyka kolego. Jak się masz? Another one, popular greeting for strangers.
Have you got a euro for the bus?
Have you got a euro for a bus? Masz drobne na autobus? Pożycz. And finally, classic Ballymun's banter.
Scarlet for your ma.
Scarlet for your ma. Jesteś wstyd dla mamy. Przepraszamy za tłumaczenie.
And now for more of an insight into this town, here's Tara Murphy with an historical tour of Ballymun.
The popular perception of Ballymun begins and ends here in its notorious tower blocks. But this narrow view of Ballymun ignores its broader historical landscape. This is a town with a lively and lurid history dating back centuries. Once upon a time, the place that I'm standing on was a favourite haunt of highwaymen who would relieve their victims of their gold, jewellery and minimalist flat-pack furniture before fleeing into the dense Santry forest. Over the centuries, Ballymun has passed through the hands of Norman nobles, Cistercian monks and extravagant aristocrats. It was the latter who were responsible for one of the most gruesome episodes in Ballymun's history. In the mid-1840s, the heir to the Donville estate, drunk after a night of revelry, doused his coachman in spirits and burnt him alive. The coachman is buried here at St. Papan's Church, the oldest surviving building in Ballymun. The building behind me is Skull and Shocker Lake, a pioneering Irish language school built in 1973. It stands on the site of Stormanstown House, an elegant mansion constructed in the 19th century. And running beneath my feet is the ghost of the Wad River, which likes to remind locals of its existence by flooding the neighbourhood during rainy winters. Generations of young Ballymunners learned to swim here at the old swimming pool. Originally, it was planned to build a car park on this site, but residents disrupted the construction until the corporation gave in and built the swimming pool instead. There is so much more to Ballymun's history than its caricature would have you believe. This has just been a brief introduction and a reminder of the flesh and blood behind the bricks and mortar.
for another episode, but Ballymun's not going anywhere, and either are we.
Tune in next time for more creativity, more culture, more Ballymun.
See you then. Bye.